You know, once we cross into our 50s, time doesn't move the way it used to. It no longer rushes forward like it did when we were young. Instead, it becomes quieter, deeper, sometimes carrying a little ache in the knee, a fine line at the corner of the eye, or a morning when you look in the mirror and suddenly wonder, when did I age this much? I've asked myself that question too. And in more than 30 years of working with older adults here in the US, I've heard that same question more times than I can count. Not just from women, men as well. Men who once didn't care much about skin or appearance eventually sit across from me, gently rubbing the skin on their neck, sighing, saying, "Doc, I feel like something inside me is slowing down, like the inner wires are wearing out." And you know what? There's truth in that. Because after the age of 40 or 50, our collagen begins to decline relentlessly. Collagen is the framework that keeps our skin firm, our joints smooth, our muscles resilient, and our blood vessels elastic. But when collagen drops, things start to shift. The body, quiet for so many decades, suddenly begins to speak up. Aching knees, sagging skin, slow healing, thinning hair. And the saddest part? Most people shrug and say, "Well, that's just aging," and give up. But let me tell you something. I've met people at 60, 70, even 80 who still glow, who walk with ease, who have clear eyes and a lightness in their step. And they all have one thing in common. They know how to nourish their collagen through simple, natural habits, things you and I often forget. I remember one of my patients, Helen, 67 years old, who came to my clinic with tired shoulders and dull skin. She said, "I look in the mirror and I don't recognize that woman anymore." Like many older adults, she tried everything: creams, serums, supplements, even expensive collagen powders, and nothing really worked. Then during one appointment, I asked her a very simple question. "Helen, do you still believe your body knows how to heal itself?" She fell silent. Then she whispered, "I don't know." But that moment became the beginning of something new. A journey where she made one tiny change, every day, adding natural collagen-renewing seeds into her meals. Not fancy supplements, not miracle ads, but the kinds of foods our bodies have known how to use for thousands of years. And something beautiful happened. 3 months later, she came back, walking lighter, glowing brighter, eyes full of life. I asked how she felt. She said, "I feel like my body finally woke up again." Have you ever felt that way? As if part of you still feels young, still wants to move, laugh, enjoy, but your body simply can't keep up? If you've ever felt that, then this video is for you. Today, I want to share with you 10 small things that can profoundly change your quality of life. 7 of them you may have heard somewhere. But the other 3, they come from real experience, from thousands of conversations with older adults right here in America. Things you won't find in textbooks, but you'll find in real lives, in the wrinkles, in the slow steps, and more importantly, in the smiles they regained. Now I want you to imagine something. A healthy body isn't a body without age. It's a body that knows how to regenerate, how to recover, how to repair itself, like a garden in spring. It may have gone through a long winter, dried out, wilted, but give it a few seeds, a little water, a little sunlight, and suddenly, everything turns green again. And the seeds I'm about to talk to you about are exactly that. Tiny seeds of spring for your body. Each one plays its own role. Some protect your collagen from being broken down. Some provide the building blocks to rebuild it. Some awaken the energy inside your cells. Small things, gentle things. But put together, they create changes you can feel. In your skin, in your joints, in your energy, even in the way you walk. But before we dive into each seed, I want you to pause for a moment and think. Is your body trying to tell you something? Are your shoulders tired? Is your skin dry? Is your sleep restless? Or maybe you just feel like your body isn't quite you anymore. If your answer is yes, then you're not alone. And the good news is you can change that, starting with the smallest steps. Today, I'm going to share how these tiny seeds, chia, flax, sesame, pumpkin, sunflower, hemp, black cumin, and the natural principles behind them can become your allies in reclaiming vitality, elasticity, and the beauty of your mature years. So, are you ready? Let's begin this journey together. You know, when I talk about 10 small things that can revive your skin, your joints, and the quiet strength inside your body, I'm not talking about miracles. I'm talking about nature. I'm talking about the simple things your body has been waiting for you to give it. And every point I'm about to share, every seed, every idea, carries with it a face, a memory, a moment from over 3 decades of working with older adults. Chia seeds, the friend of deep hydration. I often tell my patients, collagen is like a rope. Water is what keeps that rope soft and flexible. Chia seeds are a tiny wonder, something so many people overlook. I remember George, 72, who always complained that his knees felt dry and the skin on his legs cracked easily. I simply asked him to add a spoonful of chia seeds into his morning water. 2 weeks later, he came back smiling. "Doc, I don't know how, but my body doesn't feel so dried out anymore." Have you ever felt thirsty on the inside, even when you drink plenty? That's because your cells need deep hydration, and chia seeds are excellent at that. Natural vitamin C, the key that turns on collagen. I once joked with a wellness group, without vitamin C, collagen is just an unfinished construction project. Vitamin C is what locks collagen into its triple helix structure. Without it, collagen simply can't form properly. One of my patients, Kimberly, used to take collagen powder every day with no result. Only when I asked her to squeeze half a lemon into the meals that included seeds did she say, "I didn't expect something so small to brighten my skin like that." Sometimes, we're not missing a lot, just the right missing piece. Sesame seeds, a small but powerful shield against aging. I remember Maria, 69, who had spent most of her life working outdoors. Her skin was thin, delicate, sun-damaged. I told her to sprinkle a little toasted sesame onto her lunch, not to make her look younger, but to protect the collagen she had left from oxidative stress. 6 months later, what surprised me wasn't that she looked better, but that she said, "Doc, the sun doesn't burn me like before. My skin feels less fragile." Skin at 60 doesn't need perfection. It needs protection. Seed cycling, the gentle balancing of hormones. Whenever I mention hormones to people over 50, they usually laugh and say, "Doc, those days are long gone." But that's not true. Hormones don't disappear, they just fall out of balance. Seed cycling, rotating flax, pumpkin, sesame, and sunflower, is a gentle, natural way to support that balance. I once met an older couple from Canada, both in their 60s. They tried seed cycling simply because it sounded easy. 3 months later, the wife told me, "I sleep deeper," and the husband added, laughing, "And I'm less cranky." That's a miracle in itself. Who said hormones only matter when you're young? Pumpkin seeds, the nuts and bolts of collagen. I keep a jar of pumpkin seeds in my clinic. When patients ask why, I say, because collagen needs zinc and copper the way a house needs nails and bolts. One day Patrick, 75, asked me why his legs were weakening so quickly. I reviewed his diet and said, "You're low on zinc and have been for a long time." We added pumpkin seeds to his snacks, and 6 weeks later he said his heels hurt less and his steps felt steadier. Sometimes the body doesn't weaken because of age, but because it's missing building materials. Hemp seeds, healing the gut, the command center of collagen. Hemp seeds are unique, not just because of their healthy fats, but because they nourish the gut microbiome. When the gut is healthy, butyrate increases, and butyrate tells your connective tissue cells, produce more collagen. I think of Jerome, 68, dull skin, chronic constipation, low energy. I added hemp seeds to his breakfast, and 1 month later he said, "Doc, I'm sleeping better, and my skin looks different, brighter." When the gut heals, the rest of the body begins to rise again. Flax seeds, balancing estrogen for both men and women. Whenever older men hear estrogen, they immediately shake their heads. But I always tell them, estrogen isn't a women's hormone. It's a flexibility hormone. Flax seeds help balance estrogen naturally, and that directly affects collagen production. I had a male patient, Rodney, 63. Dry skin, stiff joints. When we added flax seeds, the first thing that improved wasn't his skin. It was his sleep and his knees. The body doesn't care about gender when it comes to balance. Black cumin seeds, awakening the mitochondria, the power plants of collagen. Black cumin seeds are like a gentle morning tap on the shoulder. Not a caffeine jolt, but a quiet awakening of your mitochondria, the energy factories inside every cell. Linda, 71, once told me, "I'm not weak. I just feel like I'm low on electricity." We both laughed, and I suggested black cumin seeds. 3 weeks later, she said, "I didn't get younger, but the lights inside me are brighter." Energy isn't something you force. It's something you wake up. Sunflower seeds, providing the building blocks for collagen. Many people think collagen only comes in supplement form, but your body can make its own collagen very effectively, as long as it has the right raw materials. Sunflower seeds provide the precursors needed to build glycine and proline, the bricks of collagen. I often tell patients, you don't need a new house. You just need more bricks to repair the one you have. And it's true, literally, when it comes to collagen. Lowering blood sugar, stopping the caramelization of collagen. This is the one thing I wish every person over 50 would remember. High insulin burns collagen. It creates glycation, meaning your collagen becomes sticky, stiff, and aged prematurely. A patient once asked me, "How do I keep insulin down?" I said simply, more fiber, less sugar. Nature already solved this. And seeds, chia, flax, hemp, sunflower, are quiet little warriors that help stabilize insulin and protect your collagen. Have you noticed? Health often comes not from what we add, but from what we remove. As we come to the end of this conversation, I want you to pause with me for just a moment. Take a slow breath, deeper than usual, and let it fall gently out. Because everything we've talked about today, these tiny seeds, these simple choices, this quiet rebuilding of collagen, none of it is really about food. Not at its core. It's about something deeper, something tender, something that many of us, especially after our 50s, don't say out loud. It's about the desire to stay connected to life. You know, over the years, I've seen so many patients walk into my office with that same tired look, the look that says, "I'm trying to stay strong, but I'm afraid of slipping." And every time, I'm reminded that aging is not a failure. It's not a decline. It's a transition, a crossing into a new chapter that requires a different kind of care, a slower, wiser kind of love. And collagen, in the way I see it, is simply the body's quiet metaphor for resilience. It's the stitching that keeps us whole. It holds our skin, our bones, our joints, our very shape together. And somewhere along the path of life, that stitching loosens. Not because we've done something wrong, but because time has been moving with us. But here's the beautiful thing. The body still listens. Even at 60, even at 70, even when we think it has forgotten how to respond. Oh, it hasn't. Give it the right signals, the right nourishment, the right rhythm, and it will begin to rebuild. Sometimes slowly, sometimes quietly, but always faithfully. I often tell my patients, the body never stops trying to heal you. The only question is, are you willing to partner with it? And maybe that's the real wisdom in these small seeds we talked about today. Flax, hemp, pumpkin, sesame. They're not magic bullets. They're more like tiny conversations with your cells. Gentle reminders that life continues to grow, even in the smallest places. Think about that for a moment. A single seed weighs almost nothing, yet inside it is a blueprint for an entire living plant. A tree, even, a whole ecosystem. If a seed can carry that much potential, what makes you think your body carries any less? I remember a woman named Margaret. She was 72 when she first came to see me. Her hands were stiff, her walk was slow, and she said to me, "Doctor, I feel like I'm unraveling." That word, unraveling, it stayed with me. So we started small, just like these seeds. A teaspoon of flax in her oatmeal, a handful of pumpkin seeds in the afternoon, a simple walk after dinner, better sleep, less sugar, more sunlight. Nothing dramatic, Nothing extreme, just gentle acts of rebuilding. And 3 months later, she came back with a different look on her face, a softness, a steadiness. She said, "I didn't know I could feel like myself again. Not younger, not reversed, just herself."